So today I'm going to go through 75 YouTube channels that I love watching. There's so many channels I watch, more than 75. And I thought I'd break it down, start with a few classics like Tom Scott here. I'm sure most of you already know who Tom Scott is. Start with just a handful of classics that I think you probably already know, but I'll mention just in case you don't know them. And then I'm going to move on to some of my favorites. But I've put all the music YouTubers in a separate category because there's going to be loads and loads of music YouTubers. As you can imagine, my channel's about music, etc. So I've separated them out. So it'll be classics, just general favorites, music YouTubers, and then I'm going to finish off with a few channels that I watch that are actually below 100k subscribers. So they're sort of smaller channels that I think could really do with some support and make genuinely great content. So let's start with Tom Scott. So I'm sure a lot of you guys know about Tom Scott. If you don't, he makes videos they're kind of explainer videos, but they're often from particular places, places of interest. As you can see, recently, he actually went on a long-term hiatus and gave the internet a sort of collective heart attack, apparently, because everyone started chatting about how YouTubers are quitting when it was kind of just a handful of them. But anyway, he is technically on hiatus right now, but that doesn't mean there isn't a massive backlog of amazing videos for you guys to check out. Let's just look at some of his most popular ones. This video has, and then it has in the title the exact amount of views that it actually has. That's the sort of stuff that Tom Scott does. He's very clever and multi-talented guy who's also really good at taking pretty much anything and making it into an interesting video. So highly recommend Tom Scott if you just like learning about interesting things in fairly short, incredibly well presented videos. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. I'm pretty sure you guys already know who Tom Scott is. But yeah, I can see a few people have spotted a few YouTubers I'm going to be talking about in that initial thumbnail. You will not be disappointed, hopefully. But anyway, Tom Scott, that's Tom Scott. Let's move on. So if you're just joining us now, I'm starting with a few sort of classics, channels which I think most people have already heard of, but I am a big lover of, and I thought I should mention just in case you guys don't know them. This is the Vlogbrothers. Now, if you haven't watched the Vlogbrothers, you have probably almost definitely watched one of their other channels, because they are the brains behind SciShow, which is like a science education channel. They are the brains behind Crash Course, which is a big multi-subject educational YouTube channel. And they've been behind loads of massive things. They founded VidCon, the YouTube conference. They've been going for a long time on YouTube, and I've been watching them since I was about 18, and now I'm 30, so I've been watching them for 12 years of my life, and they really are amazing. It's hard to describe what their videos are about. They are effectively just vlogs, I guess, but the format is that they both share the channel, John and Hank, and they take turns, as you can see, kind of messaging back and forth via vlog videos. So John's video, Hank's video, John's video, Hank video, etc. But they're also quite educational. You may also know that John Green is the author behind many books, most famously The Fault in Our Stars, which was quite a big hit about 10 years ago and had a film and everything. That's a fantastic book. And Hank has... He's just done loads of stuff. It's kind of hard to label everything he's done, but he's also an author as well. They're just very talented guys. And I can see in the chat someone has mentioned their classic catchphrase, which is "Don't forget to be awesome," which is one of the many things that they've coined. They are kind of like the fathers of YouTube, the great uncles of YouTube. But anyway, let's move on. So another classic, which I'm sure many of you guys have heard of before, just to remove that, is CGP Grey. CGP Grey makes incredibly well animated videos explaining all sorts of things. Just sort of one of those great channels where they can take any topic and explain it really clearly and in a really entertaining way. And it's the sort of channel where I find myself going back to and watching it like time and time again, just relearning what they're talking about. I was actually earlier today. Actually, I was rewatching this video why some animals can't be domesticated. Just really interesting stuff. Really well done. Once again, this is like we're in the classics right now. As you can see down the bottom of the screen, we've got classics, my favorites, music YouTubers, 100k. Classics is hopefully going to be stuff you already know. But anyway, CGP Grey, definitely check him out. The slow-mo guys. Have you guys watched the slow-mo guys before? What they do is kind of obvious. They film stuff in slow-mo, and they were sort of the first to do that significantly on YouTube. So they've been going quite a long time, and they do it really, really well. One of the two slow-mo guys, which is that guy, I think he's called Gav. He is effectively a professional camera operator, so the footage is always done so well. But for me, it's almost just, as much as the slow-mo footage is amazing, the chemistry between the two guys, I just love it. They're really funny guys. Like these are classics. You can see that's uploaded 12 years ago. So you've got all of the appeal of it being in slow-mo, but you've also got just the stupidity of him being in that massive balloon. You got to watch it to get the vibe, but I'm sure you guys have watched them before. Mr. Wondrous is asking in the chat, are these to be linked down below? Yes, once the live stream is over and it will just be on my channel, I'm going to add all the links. But I'm not going to add them now because it's kind of like spoilers, right? You guys will be able to go through before I get to them. So hopefully as we go along, if you see channels that stand out to you, you can just go search them on YouTube yourself and subscribe. And if not, wait till the video has been published at the end and I will add all the links down below. But anyway, let's move on. This is oversimplified. History videos, animated, but also told in a really sort of funny and narrative-driven way. They've got videos on all sorts of stuff, but you can see 90 million views. This is significantly popular stuff, and for good reason. It's just really, it's in the name, just simplified narrative storytelling of significant historical events with a good sense of humor as well. So it's just great for introducing you to periods of history which you may not know as much about as you thought you did. For me personally, the Napoleonic Wars was a topic which I just didn't know an awful lot about. So it's a really great way of just getting the basics and in a really fun way. Snooze has asked, how many of these recommendations are music related? So I've made an entire segment of this video which is going to be for music related stuff. So I think there's at least 30, if not 40 music channels out of the 75 I'm going to be talking about. But as you can see down the bottom, we're going to talk about the classics first, which we're almost already through. Then we're going to talk about my favourites, which aren't musical. And then we're going to talk about the music ones. Okay. Someone in the chat is saying, no way I'm 30. Yeah, I'm 30 years old. I'm almost 31. But I've always looked young for my age. But I used to find that annoying. And now that I'm 30, I actually quite like that I still get ID'd when I buy beer. So long may that continue. Anyway, let's move on. So that was oversimplified. And this is the last sort of classics YouTuber I'm going to show you. This is Mark Rober. As you can see, he's very, very popular. Almost 50 million subscribers, which makes him one of the most subscribed channels on the entire platform. And he is just a really interesting guy. He's an engineer. He used to work for NASA. And he makes amazing videos. Well, I say loosely. They are engineering challenges. It's always about making something. But it's always done in a really fun way. There's a reason why he's got 50 million subscribers. I don't necessarily have to tell you much about him. People are still talking about how young I look. Anyway, so that takes us out of the classics. So we're going to go into my favourites now. So let's change the little thing down there. So classics, I just wanted to get that out of the way because I think most of you already knew those channels. But now I want to talk about some channels which maybe I can introduce you to. And the first one is going to be GeoWizard. So GeoWizard, he's got a funny channel because it's sort of like two channels in one. He started by doing GeoGuessr videos. Do you know what GeoGuessr is? It's like there's one of them here where you're put on Google Street View and you have to guess where you are, and he's particularly good at it. So that's how he started. But what kind of made him what he is his adventure videos. So here's his most famous one, the first one he did, the mission across Wales. He basically pioneered this style of YouTube video where you walk in an absolute straight line across a country, which I think it sounds easier than it is, because you can't deviate from that line. So you're walking through private property and over obstacles and through hedgerows, and it's just crazy what he does. So I highly recommend you check out his straight line missions. This is his one over Wales. He did one over Norway, over Scotland. I think he's got one in the works coming out very soon, where he's going to go in a straight line over England. You got to kind of watch it to get it. And he's also just a really likable guy. And the way he makes the videos with the voiceover and the music, it has a great sense of storytelling to it. So it's more than just watching some guy climb through brambles, although that is a big part of it. I can see in the comments, Liquid Floyd says, Rob Words made you click. Yes, I will be talking about Rob Words later. Someone keeps asking about who my favourite Beatles member is. Well, my favourite Beatle is probably... If we're talking about who wrote my favourite Beatles songs, it's John Lennon. Because if I just make a list of my favourite Beatles songs, they wind up being largely John songs. But you can't pick your favourite Beatle. You know, they come as a package. But anyway, that's Rob. That's not Rob. That's GeoWizard. That's GeoWizard. Next. So next we have Captain Disillusion. So Captain Disillusion... Captain Disillusion makes videos where he explains how visual effects or special effects were done. Often in, if there was some sort of like viral video, he will explain how the visual effects were done. But what makes his videos so good is he doesn't just explain it. The video itself is like a tour de force of special effects in itself. So they're just amazing videos to watch just for the pure craftsmanship. So he'll teach you something whilst also just completely flexing his own special effects skills. So, yeah, Captain Disillusion, definitely check him out. Even if you're not a massive like movie buff or anything, just it's almost like a magician revealing tricks, which is kind of what special effects is, right? Like magic tricks. All right, next one. JJ McCullough. So JJ McCullough is a Canadian YouTuber who I guess would be best described as an educational channel, like explaining stuff, but he explains culture, I guess, like cultural artifacts, sometimes a bit of history, sometimes a bit of politics, but it's like, for example, here, like the history of American chip flavors. Just kind of asking questions about our culture that we might take for granted. Like why is that? Are these the default flavors of crisps? Like that sort of thing, or like where's that one about? There's one about like fruit flavors. I can't remember, but like there was one about why, like when you buy sweets or candy or whatever, there's always the certain types of sweet flavor you expect to get, and just sort of unraveling the history and culture behind stuff, everyday stuff that we take for granted. Just gonna have a little look at the chat. Yeah, Wayne says he likes JJ, but not when he gets into Canadian politics. Yeah, like Canadian politics, unless you are in Canada, isn't particularly interesting. So I think most of his audience won't be Canadian, and I think he understands that. So in practice, most of his videos aren't really about Canada anymore. But I think maybe in the early days they were. But yeah, don't be put off by the Canadian thing. He's making videos about all culture, really, particularly Western culture, I would say. All right, I think I saw someone mentioning Jay a minute ago. This is Jay Foreman. Jay has actually technically appeared on my channel before in a video we did a while back about making music to make you laugh. Jay he's first and foremost a musical comedian, but also he's better known now for making very funny, very well put together videos explaining things. He has a few different series that he has. One of them is Map Men, which is what we have here, explaining different elements about maps and geography in a really funny, entertaining way. And he also has other series. He has one called Unfinished London, so talking about elements of London and why it was built the way it was, and the infrastructure of London. But he, much like many of the other channels we've talked about already, he has a real knack for taking a subject and making it really entertaining. And here's our videos that I rewatch these videos quite regularly, not just to kind of relearn the stuff he's talking about, but they're just entertaining. They're just really funny. And he's also a massive Beatles fan, which you may not really know without going onto his popular video thing here. And you can see he's got this whole thing where he sings. He can sing songs a syllable out, which is hard to explain. Let's actually watch that. Let's watch this now.
The real challenge, ladies and gentlemen, is if I can do that to any song you throw at me. So, David, what is your favourite Beatles song? Oh, Jesus. That's not a Beatles song. Oh, Jesus. No. All right.
So he's going to sing it a syllable out of time.
Here comes the sun, do-do. Do, here comes the sun. Say it's all right, little dog. And so on. Let's have one more. One more. Wait, what? I am he, as you are we, and you are we, and we are all together. Let's see how the problem with that song is the lyrics are already bollocks. One more. Hey, Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Sing along to remember to let her into your autastic. Anyway, we move on now. Here's a sciencey song.
But anyway, so Jay is a massive Beatles fan, and I mention that because we actually filmed a Beatles quiz together the other day, which will be coming out soon. And the reason for that is every Beatles quiz I've ever done on my channel, Jay always appears in the comments with a much better score than me. So I thought we'd do a big showdown. So look out for that soon. But in the meantime, go subscribe to Jay. As I said, although he does those singing videos, his videos really are these educational comedy videos. Bloody brilliant stuff. Go check it out. Now, in fact, this next one's kind of connected. Oh, you can actually see Jay there. This next one's kind of connected because I was actually involved in a collaboration featuring Jay and this channel here, Geography Now. So Geography Now is probably the only channel which is going through every single country and doing a video on each one. So it started years ago, and it's going through them in alphabetical order. So it started with Afghanistan, and then it's just going through one by one. And now they haven't quite done yet. They're on Vietnam, Vietnam. Yeah, it's the most recent one. So they're almost at the end now. But they are brilliant videos for just learning all the ins and outs of a particular country. And I think it's equally great when it's a country that you know really well and you want to just like learn more about that, like, I don't know, the United States, or a country which you may not really know anything about, and it can really enlighten you to their culture and their particular way of doing things. So Barbs, who runs it, does a really good job researching it and also talking to people from that country to try and get their perspectives. But I was actually lucky enough to be involved in the UK episode, which, where's the UK episode gone? There's a lot of episodes. But basically, Barbs often tries to get a person from that country. You know what? I'm going to just search for it. There it is.
And the Cayman Islands have...
So, Barbs often tries to get someone from the country that the video is about, that the video is about, to guest host. And he got Jay to guest host it. And because I know Jay, there was a opportunity where they needed a music host to do the music segment of this Geography Now episode. So Jay asked me to do that. So actually, in this video, if we go to the music bit, which is here, I'm in this video. So this was an amazing thing to do because I'd been watching Barbs do Geography Now for years before this happened. So it was just a really surreal moment to meet him and just be in his video. It's crazy. But anyway, if you want to learn more about different countries, Geography Now, go check that out. Just having a little look at the chat right now. Oh, Jared V Music says, didn't realise this was live. Yes, it is live. Hello. I'm not looking at the chat an awful lot because I'm focusing on what's on the screen, at the channels we're looking at. But I can see there's 276 of you. So hello, everyone. Welcome. In case you were wondering, in case you've only just joined us, I'm working through different YouTube channels that I think you guys will love. I've already started by looking at some like classic, like very well-known channels. Now I'm looking at some general favourites of mine. And then I'll be I'll be going on to music channels because there's going to be so many channels that I'm talking about which are music related that I wanted to put them all in one big segment. So that's what we'll be approaching soon enough. And then at the end, I'm going to look at channels that have less than 100k subscribers that I love watching and I think you guys should watch as well. So let's continue on with the next channel, which is Tim Traveller. I think somebody mentioned in the chat Tim earlier. Tim is another YouTuber who I've been lucky enough to meet. I'm actually seeing him in a couple of days' time, actually. And it's one of those things where you wouldn't know watching his videos necessarily, but Tim is a big music fan and he's a musician himself. He plays piano, so we kind of got talking because of that. But Tim's channel isn't about music. It's about noteworthy places, interesting places, usually around Europe, places that you wouldn't have heard of, but are really interesting and significant. So it's kind of a little bit similar to Tom Scott in a way, but just sort of showing you places that are really intriguing, either for a historical reason or for some sort of novel, unusual reason. But yeah, I definitely recommend checking him out. And something that's really fun with Tim's videos is he often will create the music for that video himself by playing piano versions of relevant songs. So, for example, if he's doing a video about trains, he'll do a piano cover of the Thomas the Tank Engine theme, but he won't mention it. So it will just be in the background as a sort of you've got to spot it sort of thing, which I love. So, yeah, go check out Tim. Now, here is a channel all about engineering. It's sort of similar to Mark Rober, who I mentioned earlier. It's kind of like silly engineering challenges, but done incredibly well. So basically, this guy will make something and it sounds too ambitious to be possible, but he'll do it. So, for example, he made a moving basketball hoop, which makes it so you can't miss. Even if you try to miss, the hoop will move to catch the ball. Stuff like that. Similar with this one. Pool table, basically making a stick that can automatically work out the perfect shot and just turn you into a pro pool player. It's crazy stuff. It's like the sort of stuff where it's so ambitious you don't think he's going to be able to pull it off, but he always does. Mark and Millie's videos says, "You and Tim saved me during the pandemic." I'm glad. How did you find Tim? To be honest, I can't remember how I first stumbled across Tim's videos, but he is one of the channels which, when he uploads, I will be straight on there watching it immediately. But anyway, let's move on. So, stuff made here, amazing engineering stuff. Okay, ordinary things. So, how do I describe this channel? Ordinary Things, it's like maybe like a short documentary, I would say, or explainer about various, let's say, not conspiracy, but dubious, slightly criminal, slightly on the fringes of conspiracy theories stuff. For example, he will look at the industry behind sodas or fizzy drinks if you're in England, and how there might be things going on behind the scenes which you are less aware of. Same thing with all of these. It's kind of like pulling the curtain back and showing you behind something whilst also just educating you about it. And he's also really funny as well. So it's done with a great sense of humour. Just having another little look at the chat. Jay Richards asks, how far into the 75 are we now? That's a good question. I would say we are a third of the way through, maybe a quarter of the way through. Yeah. I don't know how many more favourites are left, but then we will be going into the music ones relatively soon. But anyway, ordinary things. Let's move on. So, Max Fosh. So Max Fosh is a British YouTuber who makes very funny, silly videos where, once again, kind of like I mentioned with stuff made here, he does something very ambitious, but he always pulls it off, or at least gets a great entertaining video out of it. So, for example, he did this video where he put a big sign in a field below Gatwick Airport saying "Welcome to Luton," which, if you're not from the UK, is a different airport, not too far away. And it got into the news, and it was a really big thing. And he does a lot of this stuff, you know. I became the richest man on earth for 7 minutes. What was a really good one that he did? Oh yeah, like when he snuck into the International Security Convention. It's just silly stuff, funny stuff, but done really well. It's kind of, I can't really do it justice describing it. You just need to go check them out. And he's one of those channels that's really exploded as well in the last few years. When I first started watching him, he definitely had less than 1 million subscribers. And now he has almost 4 million subscribers. So he's growing fast. Let's just a little look at the chat here. Sir Pudnick says, I'm surprised he hasn't got arrested. Yeah, I know, right? Maybe he has. I would imagine he's got close before. But yeah, Max Fosh, really funny, really clever videos, but done really well. And also done, you know, I think when you say prank videos, sometimes people think they're going to be really immature or insensitive pranks, but Max he's a stand-up guy. He does it really really sort of well. No one gets hurt. It's all in good fun, you know. Great stuff. Okay, let's move on to Half Asleep Chris. So Half Asleep Chris is another YouTuber who I've had the pleasure of meeting. And he makes incredibly creative, well-crafted videos, usually on the topic of either cats or Lego, which are two things I like, or both. And sometimes other things as well, like travel videos. For example, he made like this Lego railway that goes all around his house. Or he'll build something for his cats to play on. But the thing is like when I put it like that, it sounds like, oh, it's just kind of like kids' videos. But although I'm sure many kids... Although I'm sure many kids do watch his videos, you don't have to be a kid to enjoy them. And they're just really well put together. It's just like making a massive train set around his house. I don't know about you, but this is the sort of stuff which the big kid in me absolutely loves. And he's also a musician as well, and he makes all the music for his own videos. He's just one of those guys where every element of the video is really well crafted because he just takes care over every aspect of it. Even if there's like a fleeting like title, is this going to be it? Yeah. Like a fleeting title on screen just for a second, he'll stop motion animate it like that. It's just really well crafted stuff. Let's have a little look at the chat. Okay, we've got 250 people watching. Very nice. In case you have only just joined us, I'm working through 75 channels that I think you guys will really enjoy. And I've started with some really typical, like well-known ones. That was the classics. Now I'm on my favorites, which are just sort of any channels which I love and think you guys will love too. Then I'm going to go on to music channels, which are just like about music. And then I'll finish by looking at some channels which are below 100k. Caesar asks, why haven't you posted anything about the Smiles music? I have actually mentioned the Smile in at least one video. I think it was my video on 11.8 time, because one of their songs is in 11.8. And I might be mentioning them again soon. The thing is, for anyone who doesn't know, the Smile are effectively a Radiohead side project featuring Tom York and Johnny Greenwood of Radiohead. So it's like two-fifths of Radiohead. And I do like the Smile. I was actually going to go see them live, but I wasn't able to in the end. But for me, it's not quite as good as Radiohead, as you can imagine. It's not quite the same thing. But if you like Radiohead, the Smile are a great band to check out. People are telling me that I've got the more than, less than sign the wrong way round. Not much I can do about that now. Anyway, let's talk about Headache. So Headache is a channel explaining usually things about TV, but also just about culture in general. There's an historical aspect to it and sort of just a discussion aspect to it. It's really sort of, what's the word for it? It's done with a really great sense of humor as well, but it's also educational. I think you might be spotting a pattern over some of these channels where I'm a big fan of sort of edutainment, like educational videos, which are also just really entertaining to watch. And yeah, he's a really funny guy, really well crafted videos. He doesn't make them particularly often, but when he does, you know they're going to be good. So yeah, Headache, check out Headache. I actually found out about Ed because of the other bigger channel that he's involved in, which I think, if I've done this right, yes, is here. So you guys might have heard of Tom Scar. He is most famous and well known for his Astaf movies he made. You know, those sort of like, can I find the Astaf movies without destroying my thing? Do you remember these videos?
Got your nose.
As you can see, actually no, you can't see it because it's cropped, but it's got 71 million views. he's most famous for making these Astaf movie things, and they have got. Let's see if I can move that across. Yeah, there we are. They have got loads and loads of views, and they're on his main channel, Tomska. But that's not the channel I'm actually talking about. The channel I'm talking about is this one, Tomska and Friends, which is like his side channel. But the thing on this channel, which I really love, is what he calls tryhards, which is this thing here. And they're like challenge videos where the three of them have to achieve this challenge, and at the end they all compare their results, and it's really funny. And as you can see, that guy there on screen, not now. Let me pause it when he comes up. There he is. That on screen now is Ed from Edache, the previous channel we were just talking about. So that's how I kind of found out about him. But yeah. So what I'm kind of plugging here is less so this channel and more so this series, Tryhards. Really entertaining stuff. And yeah, as some people are mentioning in the comments there, Tom Scar, he's a classic. He's a classic YouTuber. He's been going for years. Anyway, let's move on. So, next we have Midlife Crisis, who is a educational YouTuber, once again with a great sense of humor, but he's all about medicine and healthcare, and he is a practicing doctor in the UK. So it's really insightful stuff, but really entertaining as well. Videos about often discussing pseudoscientific or alternative medicine stuff, but also just the general culture of health and fitness in a really entertaining way. They're really well done videos. Once again, he's a YouTuber who doesn't upload that often, but when he does, it's going to be a great video. And really, one of the reasons he doesn't upload that often is because he's still a practicing doctor, so he's kept busy by that. Just having a little look at the chat here. Douglas Pants says these are all great picks. Thank you very much. Anyway, I'm gonna continue. So that was Midlife Crisis. Next we have Philosophy Tube, who is another channel who's been going for a long time and has really evolved and developed in that time. And now they are, well, the video. Let me tell you what the videos are first. The videos are educational videos about philosophy, and when they first started, they were very much like lectures. You know, interesting, I guess, but not very not much spectacle to them. And now, well, they're like short films. They're really well thought out, well presented videos, which have like characters to them and like narrative and subtext. It's not just like a lecture. It's like a whole performance piece, really. And they're often discussing very important issues, very cutting edge issues, and they go into great depth. As you can see, most of these videos are about 40 minutes long, sometimes longer. They really go into the nitty gritty on these topics, and they're discussing some very sensitive subjects, some subjects which are very important as well to society, and a lot of stuff which is still very much happening right now. So not like, they will discuss older philosophy, but they're also talking about how philosophy is unfolding in the modern day. How what's the word for it? Opinions on things like trans rights and sex and drugs and Islamophobia and all sorts of stuff like that affects our daily life and affects politics and stuff. It's really, really interesting stuff and goes into great depth. Mark and Millie have just subscribed to Midlife Crisis. You won't regret it. That is a great channel to be subscribed to. Just looking at the comments a bit here. The Ducky Machine asks, kind of off topic, but do YouTube Shorts leave you annoyed when you watch them? Yes, kind of, yeah. I don't really like YouTube Shorts. I've started doing them myself more as a bit of an experiment, and also because part of me thinks, or at least suspects, that the YouTube algorithm likes it when you are uploading shorts as well. It's almost like, in my opinion, that it's like they give you like a green tick next to your name. So yeah, shorts, there's some topics which are fine for a 1 minute video, but generally it's hard to make an educational video in a minute. And of course, shorts are limited to a minute. Shorts are best for like comedy, I think. And they are great for that. And I watch shorts, but it's no secret that YouTube is using shorts to compete with TikTok. So I think it's something where YouTube kind of had to make shorts. It couldn't not, because it couldn't risk letting TikTok be the only mainstream source of like short form vertical video. So YouTube needed to compete. Who knows how long YouTube Shorts will last on the platform? I do wonder if they will always exist on the platform, or if one day what they will do is get rid of the 1 minute cap on how long a short can be, and it will just be vertical video. That's just what it is. So YouTube will allow you to have traditional video, like horizontal like this, and also vertical, and we won't call it shorts anymore because it won't be capped to a minute. That's what I think the end game is for YouTube Shorts, but maybe I'm wrong. I'm just having a little look at the chat again. Make a Whoosh Foundation says, any channels in your list you'd want to gift a theme song, jingle end song to? Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Quite a lot of the channels we've talked about already, even though we haven't talked about music channels yet, they've already been channels where the person happens to be a musician, so therefore they've already created their own music. So there's already some great theme songs going on some of the channels I've talked about, but I wouldn't be opposed to making a theme song for some of these channels. When are you going to make Jay Foreman eat a banana peel? Very well remembered. Jashuan Productions. Were you watching the Mr. Beat live stream when I did that? Let me know in the chat. But for all of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I mentioned Jay Foreman a while ago, and long story short, I basically bet him to eat a banana skin. I'll explain more when I show you the video about it later in the month, but he had to eat a banana skin, and we have done that now. We have filmed that, and you will see that. I'm not going to say much more because I think it's easier to understand once I talk about it. But yeah, you are going to see Jay eat a banana skin. Let's have another little look at the chat here. Lewis asks, am I going to do any videos again where we're guessing the Beatles songs from instruments? In fact, earlier I mentioned one. I mentioned in the stream that last week I filmed a video with Jay Foreman where it's a head-to-head Beatles quiz. Because he's a massive Beatles fan, and in that quiz, one of the rounds is guessing Beatles songs from the isolated drums. So, yes, you're going to have that, but in general, you're just going to have a great Beatles quiz video showdown between me and Jay Foreman coming out next month. So you can look forward to that. Okay, anyway, I'm going to move on. I'm going to continue talking. So, that was Philosophy Tube. Let's move on. So, this is quite a random one that I'd be surprised if you guys have heard of this one, but this is Vagrant Holiday. Now, this is a weird channel, but it's great. So, there's not many videos here. That's it. And he's also finished. He's not doing videos anymore. So, there's only 8. That's all there is. But they're amazing. They are travel videos, but as the Vagrant bit would suggest, he basically goes to a country or a place and tries not to have to pay for accommodation. So that will generally involve him sleeping in parks or sneaking into buildings or abandoned buildings maybe, or all sorts of stuff. He has a knack for getting into very interesting situations. The first one I ever watched was Forbidden Island, where he kayaks onto a American prison island and sneaks around. It's crazy stuff. It's the sort of stuff where you genuinely think, this guy has to keep his identity hidden because he'll get arrested if not. So, yeah, kind of weird stuff, but really interesting videos. Urban exploring with a hint of breaking the law, I guess, but no one's getting hurt. Yeah, Vagrant Holiday. And this is, well, not similar, but kind of similar, I guess. This is Bold and Bankrupt. Bold and Bankrupt makes videos where he travels to countries which most people wouldn't travel to. So he started off traveling across Russia and ex-Soviet states. One of the things that makes his videos so interesting, those ones at least, is he fluently speaks Russian. So he often will go and talk to the locals. He's a very charismatic guy, and you really get an insightful experience learning about these places he goes to, places that you and I probably would never visit, let alone talk to the locals. So it's almost, well, I guess it is journalism really, but it's travel videos, and he's also just a really entertaining, charismatic guy. He actually got in the news a couple of years ago because he got arrested in Kazakhstan, I think, for breaking into a space travel, he was basically trying to find one of the old Soviet space shuttles that's in storage, and he actually found it, but he also got arrested and put in prison, and then he got deported from Russia. But anyway, he's been to loads of countries, not just like Russian and Soviet countries. He has been to Afghanistan. He's been to a lot of South American countries. Something he did recently, which was amazing, is he went through the Darien Gap, which is the bit of jungle between South America and North America, where you have to travel through if you want to kind of be a refugee going up to North America. And I'm trying to find it because it's such interesting videos. Oh yeah, here it is. The Darien Gap. Really amazing stuff. He travels on the top of a train with all of these refugees, and then goes through the jungle, and it's kind of feet on the ground journalism, as unfiltered, I guess, as it can be. You really, really feel like you're there with him in these places which you probably would never go to. Make a Whoosh Foundation in the chat asks, second channel David Bennett travel reveal when? That I really would love to do a travel video, a travel channel. I love traveling, I love exploring, but it's hard enough running one channel, and travel videos are, by their very nature, a lot of work. So, I travel a lot in my own time and my own life. I'm actually going to Switzerland quite soon, which is somewhere I've never really been to, and I'm looking forward to that. But I'm happy just to keep that for me, But in another life, maybe I would be a travel YouTuber. I really could imagine myself. An idea I actually once had was going around the coast of Britain and finding loads of really interesting historical locations which haven't been reported on. Because, it's easy to think that there's already a video on everything, but sometimes, I went to Dover last year, and there's this a nature reserve down at the bottom of the White Cliffs, and it's lovely and everything. But what you don't realise is the reason that land is there, the reason that there's a whole bunch of land at the bottom of the cliffs that's now a nature reserve, is because when they were building the Channel Tunnel, which goes from England to France around where Dover is, at Folkestone, all of that land, all of that earth which they had to dredge up to make the tunnel had to go somewhere. So they plonked it all at the bottom of this cliff and made a nature reserve, which I think is really interesting. And it's stuff like that which I would make videos on. But yeah, in another life. Maybe when I run out of music theory things to talk about, maybe I'll rebrand as a travel channel. But anyway, let's move on. So, another sort of wild card, which you guys may not have been anticipating, is Stora. So Stora make parkour videos. They're a group of parkour guys. Parkour, like free running, skateboarding without the skateboards, right? But when I just say parkour, it makes it sound kind of like, oh, I don't watch parkour. I don't know anything about parkour. I'm the same. I don't really know anything about parkour. But what these guys make it really interesting, and one of the ways they do that is by introducing all sorts of challenges. The best type of challenges they have are their water challenges. So this will be where there's some sort of like big gap or something that they have to jump over, and because there's water down below, there's no risk of like them dying, I guess. But it just makes for some really entertaining, interesting content, and the physical performance of these guys is amazing as well. They're all incredible athletes to be able to do this stuff. I'm trying to find one of the examples of the water challenges. I guess I watched this one recently. Let's just like skip ahead a bit to. You can see the sort of thing. There's a little clip. Like, it's just stuff like these simple challenges, which are really interesting, and you wonder whether you could pull them off yourself. Could you run across that wall and land on that ledge? I don't know, but this stuff is really interesting, and they're like 6 guys. They're all really fun and entertaining to watch. So, yeah, you may not think you like parkour, but I think you will like these videos. Okay. Produced Like a Pro is here in the chat somewhere. There he is. Hello, how are you doing? We actually, Produced Like a Pro and myself are hopefully going to do a video together at some point soon. We haven't really discussed an awful lot about it yet, but yes. Actually, let's just talk about that now. I'm just going to drop this in now because he's in the chat. How am I going to do this? Do that. Yeah. So Produce Like a Pro is another great YouTuber. He would have been in the music section, but let's just do him now. Warren is kind of a bit like... I would say Warren is sort of... Is he still here? I would say he's a bit like a English Rick Beato. So, music producer, unpacking production skills, but his best videos, in my opinion, are his sort of... what does he call them? Songs that changed music. It's a little bit like Rick Beato's What Makes This Song Great. Just going through a song, unpacking what makes it so good, looking at the history of it. There's some really great sort of documentaries, basically. He did one recently on Deep Purple, actually, which was criminally underviewed. Where is it? Deep Purple, yeah. People need to know more about Deep Purple. So, yeah, go watch Warren. Brilliant videos. Anyone who's a musician or an aspiring producer should be watching Produce Like a Pro. There he is. He's still there. Cool. Yeah, we're going to go get a drink soon, me and Warren, and we're going to talk about doing a video together, hopefully, which will be hopefully about Radiohead, which I'm sure many of you will be very pleased with. But anyway, I thought I'd just drop in Warren's one there whilst he's still in the chat. But let's move back into non-music stuff. Don't worry. Obviously, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, there's going to be a whole music dedicated segment in this video. But I'm just working through the non-musical ones to start with. But anyway, this next channel is a news channel, but it's not just like any news channel. I would say it's like News Digest, where they don't just tell you what's going on, but they sort of explain context as well. So it's got an educational edge to it. Now, this is the UK version of their channel, but they actually have loads of variations of their channel. I'm wondering if there's a way I can see them all. Probably not. But they have like a US one, a EU one, a global one. This is the UK one. So I'm subscribed to all of them because I'm just interested in all sort of current affairs. But as I said, they don't just tell you what's going on, but they kind of like unpack stuff and educate you about politics and the news and what's the greater context of things that is going on. Because, obviously with things like, I don't know, like Israel-Palestine, that's such a massive ongoing conflict that just going on BBC News, you're not necessarily going to get the whole backstory of how we got to the situation we are in. So it's a great channel for kind of unpacking the news and learning more about current events. Somebody says say scone. I just said scone. Like, how do Americans even have scones? Like, if you're, I don't know who, like, where you guys are all from, but scone is a word that's pronounced differently in different parts of the UK, and no one seems to be able to agree on how you say it. Some people say scone, but I say scone. Roy Alex is in Toronto. Yeah, well, you say they're called biscuits, PB. So, American biscuits that you put with gravy are kind of like scones in the UK, but they're not, because scones are generally sweet. They can be savoury, but they're typically sweet, whereas American biscuits are always savoury, right? But it's super confusing, right? Because we have biscuits in the UK, but our biscuits are what Americans would call cookies. So at some point, somebody just like mixed it all up. I don't know how these things happen. But anyway, scones are pronounced scone. I don't know why that had to be addressed, but it is. 1 second. It is not relevant to this stream, so let's move on. Moving on to Just Alex. So Just Alex, he does videos on a whole bunch of stuff, but they're typically outdoorsy. I can't think of. I don't know the best way to describe it, but for example, he keeps bees, so he does a whole thing about beekeeping. And I know that once again, you guys might be like, I don't care about beekeeping, but I watched this. It's like almost 2 hours of him going from not being a beekeeper to being a beekeeper. And that's what's really interesting about it, because he goes at it from a complete beginner's perspective, which, as you know, I'm sure most of us watching now are not beekeepers. So we can relate to his journey and see the challenges he faced learning this new skill, what goes wrong, what goes right, etc. So he's done that with beekeeping. He also does it with growing his own crops, as you can see from this video here. He does it with beer making, like mushroom growing. Just as you can see, it's all kind of agricultural stuff, homesteading stuff, I guess you might describe it as. But he's also just a great presenter, and it's just really wholesome viewing, I would say. Just looking at the chat again. Wolfie asks, do I speak any other languages? No. Maybe I shouldn't speak for all English people, but typically English people don't speak more than one language. I find it quite amazing, really, that in countries like continental European countries where people will fluently speak English along with their mother tongue, and like they might speak French and German and English and maybe like something else as well. I find that amazing, but it's sort of not part of the UK culture, because in the UK, particularly England, we're speaking the global language, right? English. So we don't necessarily have to learn other languages, which sounds really arrogant, but I guess it's just a practical thing, really. But yeah, I don't speak any other languages. Okay, moving on. So that was Just Alex. Austin McConnell, that's who we have next. So Austin is another one of those channels where it's sometimes hard to pin down what he's really about, but what he is, what the common thread through all of his stuff is that he's explaining. It's edutainment. It's explaining stuff in an entertaining way. So let's look at what he's got here. So he's got what to do if you fall out of a plane without a parachute, or ink cartridges are a scam, or the greatest Paralympic scandal of all time, they weren't disabled. It's stuff like that. Just stuff you didn't know you were interested in, and he finds a really interesting way of unpacking it. But it's one of those channels where you never really know what he's going to upload next. So it's quite, I guess you just kind of trust his taste that he's going to come up with something that you'll find interesting. But yeah, just another funny, entertaining, educational channel. G. Richards asks in the chat, we are lazy as Brits because we know English is the second global language. Well, to be honest, I would say English is the global language. Of course, you can say Mandarin Chinese is more widely spoken as a mother tongue because of the sheer population of China. But I'm pretty sure that if you count second language speakers, English is the most widely spoken language in the world, and it's certainly the language of sort of commerce, I would say. And personally, it has been really useful. It's been really useful for. Sorry, I'm just removing someone from the chat. It's been really useful personally being an English speaker with a British accent, because I've actually met a few different companies and sort of, for example, the company who made my courses, Artmaster, who hired me because I speak English with a British accent, because apparently global audiences prefer to hear English spoken in a British accent, and they find it easier to understand than an American accent. So I guess I describe it as the Tom Scott effect. I've got that sort of natural advantage, particularly as I'm from the south of England, where it's sort of the most default sounding British accent. I don't have like a northern accent that you have to sort of decipher. Okay. Right, sorry, I paused them because I was removing some weird guy from the chat. But he's gone now. Anyway, so someone mentioned earlier Rob Words. Rob Words makes videos talking about etymologies, about the history of words, about why grammar and words are the way they are. And I find this stuff super interesting because so often you don't realise that the words and the language that you're using every day and you take for granted have all of this sort of hidden meaning behind them. Like when you find out about their Latin origins or their Greek origins or whatever, it's really interesting to learn the history and development behind something we take so for granted, which is language. And there's some really interesting stuff I've learned from him that it's almost like hidden in plain sight. I can't think of an exact example, but when you learn language, you just kind of accept it for what it is, right? Because you're a kid and you don't really ask too many questions. But Rob does a great job of explaining why the English language is the way it is, why it can often be so counterintuitive, and how a lot of things that seem silly and like stupid came from somewhere, and it kind of made sense at one point, you know. Warren is still here. Hello, Warren. Yeah, so in the case you weren't here, Warren makes videos about music on a channel called Produce Like a Pro, and you should go subscribe to that. I've jumped ahead to his channel, so it won't appear in the music bit now. But Produce Like a Pro, the English Rick Beato. You go watch him. Anyway, that's Rob Words, and let's move on. I think we're getting near the end of the non-musical ones, by the way. So this is a channel called Polymatter. It's very classic, like infographic, faceless YouTube channel where it's educational. There's lots of channels like this, right? Like Wendover Productions or Real Life Law. But this one is probably my favourite, where he unpacks topics in a really easy to understand way, great visuals, and often talks about stuff which you didn't realise you were interested in. Talks quite a lot about what's going on in China and Asia, and what the future has in store for like geopolitics, that sort of thing, technology. Really interesting subjects, like done really well. Definitely go check that stuff out. People mentioning in the chat Rob Words, talking about his video about German words. Yeah, he had Rob Words did a video about words in German that we should probably bring into the English language, and one of them was, I think it's pronounced Wegbier, which meant way beer, or a beer you drink on the way to somewhere, which is a very English thing that we do, which at least me and my friends, we will drink a beer on the way to the pub, because you can, I guess. It amazes, actually, tangent, it amazes me when I go to a foreign country, like, for example, Canada or America or Iceland, where you're not allowed to drink outside. You're not allowed to walk down the street drinking. And sometimes in these countries, like in Canada, I didn't know you can only buy beer from like government licensed shops, which are like, they're effectively ran by the government. There's like, I guess that the way of putting it is that there is no privately run off license or shop to buy beer. You can only buy alcohol from very specific locations. I find that the hyper the hyper moderation of alcohol, what's the word for it? Regulation, the hyper regulation of alcohol is quite jarring if you're from England, I think, because here you can drink more or less wherever you like and buy it everywhere. Yeah, Norwegian. It happens in Norway as well. Yeah, it's like when I went to what's the word? Iceland. I went to the supermarket and I went to the beer aisle, but it was all alcohol-free beer, and it took me a while to realize I had to go to a, what was it called? Wielenbulen? I can't remember. It was like wine shop. Wielenbulen? I don't know if that's right. But anyway, there's like special alcohol shops you go to. That is a tangent. Let's move on. So, Brit Monkey. Okay, this must be one of the last non-music ones on the list. So Brit Monkey is another one of those sort of faceless explainer video channels, a bit like Polymatter, but very different in practice. As you can guess from the title of the channel, he's British. He also has a great sense of humour. But he just, once again, does explainer videos with really good structure, and they're really entertaining, and they're often on topics you didn't know you were interested in. So, for example, this Georgism one here, talking about an alternative way of taxing people. Or, where's that one about the peaches? Here. Is it peaches? Oh, it's apples. No, it's pears. It's pears. So this one, grown in Argentina, packed in Thailand. It's these videos. They're so interesting how they take something, and he's obviously done loads of research, and he unpacks something that you didn't realize you wanted to know about. Before I clicked on this video, I didn't know I wanted to know about why a pack of fruit was grown in Argentina and then packed in Thailand and then consumed in Europe. But he does a great job explaining this stuff. So that's Brit Monkey. Okay, we've arrived. And I can do this. Yeah, we've changed to the music segment. So let me just pause and look at the chat for a second. Vinbuden, that's it, yeah. So Vinbuden is where you buy your wine and alcohol in Iceland. Don't get caught out at the supermarket like I did. Trickster asks, Trickster says in the comments, I'm worried about getting my deep dive news from YouTube explainers. Because of the bias, I guess. I think the thing is every source has its own bias. It also has its own blind spots. So you should never learn a topic really from just one source. But that's what's good about YouTube, right? Is there's loads of channels. Like in this live stream alone, I've already shown you about 5 or 6 video channels that would all have explainer videos on the same topics. So often what can be really valuable is watching the same topic explained by various YouTubers. And then it kind of you see what both talk about, you see if they have different perspectives, and they can often kind of reinforce each other, right? I think, really, like, you can worry all day about where you get your information from, but you've got to get it from somewhere. So you just need to be aware and be a filter as well, right? Don't take everything you hear or read for granted. Captain Oblivious says, I think I've subbed to at least 5 or 10 channels we've listed. That's really good. That's a good hit rate so far. As I mentioned at the beginning, once this video is done, once this live stream is done, I will link all of the channels down below, but I'm not going to do that until after the stream. So you can come back and do that and sort of subscribe to them all later on if you want to. But anyway, let's talk about Adam. So I'm sure most of you guys have heard of Adam Neely. He is one of the main people on YouTube doing what I do, basically, which is talk about music theory in an educational way, but not in a really dry way, in a sort of more interactive way. So he's got videos about all sorts of topics. I would say his videos get a bit more complex and advanced than mine do. Mine are more focused on I guess more like practical skills, while his are more interested in the academic, pushing the frontier forward, advanced music theory stuff, which I find insanely interesting. And Adam Neely's basically, I didn't know that the entire genre of music theory educational videos on YouTube existed until somebody told me about Adam Neely. It was my friend Hayden. He told me to watch Adam's videos. I watched them all. I watched every single video on his channel, and then I started watching them again. And soon after, I started my channel, because basically Adam's channel was the inspiration for my channel. It's what gave me the idea. I knew I wanted to do YouTube for a very long time. I tried lots of different formats, but it wasn't until I saw Adam's videos that I finally kind of understood how I could make videos. Just having a little look at the chat here. Wolfie says he already knows I'm going to mention Rob Scallon. Yes, that is true. I will also be mentioning the other half of 1st of October as well. Yeah, just looking at the chat there. Adam started as just kind of like quote-unquote bass lessons, but he very quickly became music theory focused. But he's a bassist first and foremost. He also has an amazing band called Sungazer. If you are a fan of my channel, which I imagine you are if you are watching this stream, you should watch Adam Neely. Okay, next. So, David Bruce Composer is the other channel that inspired my channel. And David Bruce Composer is the reason my channel was called David Bennett Piano. So I'd already kind of been inspired to start my channel when I watched Adam's videos. But right around the time that I was beginning to write and research my very first videos, before I'd actually made any of them, I discovered David Bruce's channel. David Bruce makes videos once again, kind of down the music theory vein, but he focuses more on classical music. He's actually a very successful, established classical composer in his own right. So he lends really great insight into the world of being a classical composer. But he also just does videos about all sorts of stuff. This is the video I first discovered him on, Why Is There No Saxophone in the Orchestra, which was really interesting. And this is another great video, just going through the entire history of classical music. As somebody who loves classical music and has studied it a bit but doesn't know an awful lot about it, David Bruce's channel has been instrumental in expanding my knowledge of classical music. But the other thing is, David Bruce was very kind at the beginning of my channel to lend me some support and advice. Right when I made my very first videos, I reached out to David and asked him what he thought of my videos, and he gave me some feedback. And I also asked him for some tips on how to get the ball rolling with my channel. And he gave me a fantastic tip, which was to post my videos in the music theory subreddit. And that is basically where I got my first 1,000 subscribers, I guess. That's where the ball started rolling. So I owe a lot to David for that. And as I said, I named my channel David Bennett Piano because David Bruce had named his David Bruce Composer. Because I knew I needed some extra thing on the end of my name to make it more distinctive. Because not only are there loads of David Bennetts in the world, but there's already semi-famous musical David Bennetts. So I needed to add something to my name. So I just thought David Bruce is a composer. I play piano, so I'll be David Bennett Piano. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to meet David Bruce on a couple of occasions. He's a really nice guy. I actually featured in one of his videos. Which one is it? Here it is. He does these composer challenge videos, which were inspired by Adam Neely. Oh, no, not Adam Neely. They're inspired by Andrew Huang. But anyway, it's where like you all get given a brief and you have to compose a song to the brief. And is this my one here? I think my one's here. Yeah. Let's have a little listen. I can't remember how it goes. So yeah, in this video, don't be mistaken by the person on screen. This is a David Bruce video. We all got a challenge where we had to compose a piece of music where the first bit only used one note in the melody, the second bit only used 2 notes in the melody, and the third bit used 3 notes in the melody. So it's a really interesting challenge. Make sure the right hand kept being provided with a new backdrop and a new context. I'm really excited to hear how everyone's dealt with this brief, and thank you again, David, for organising all of this. So this is my piece that I did for the challenge. Not performed by me, performed by someone else. So this is where there's only one note in the melody. That was the first part of the challenge. And then we got to introduce a second note. There's the other one. I haven't listened to this in a while. I like this. And then the third note comes in the melody. Yeah, anyway. Of course, the one thing I showed you on David Bruce's channel was actually me. Very narcissistic of me, but genuinely, check out David's channel. It's fantastic. Anyway, that was David Bruce. Let's move on. Digging the Greats. So this is a channel about hip-hop. And it's really amazing at unpacking how certain hip-hop tracks were made, how the sampling was done, the story behind the song. It's also a great channel for like learning more about hip hop, because hip hop is another genre where I enjoy hip hop. I listen to a fair amount of it, but there's a lot I don't know about hip hop. There's a lot of hip hop artists that I don't know much about. So it's a great way of learning more about hip hop. And it does expand beyond just hip hop. As you can see, we've got a Beatles one here, and we've got Daft Punk. But yeah, it's really, really well done stuff about sampling and the sort of the context and history of hip hop music. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but Snapdragon just realised this was a live stream. What made you realise? It's interesting how people are not realising this is a live stream. But yeah, there you go. This is a live stream. We are live. Unless you're watching this later on the rewatch, in which case it's not. Anyway, Digging the Greats. Watch that. Okay, Tantacruel. So Tantacruel, he doesn't always make videos about music, but they're usually about music. And he's a really interesting character. I actually met him through David Bruce before. And Tantacruel, he's actually involved with MuseScore. You know, the notation software, the free notation software. Tantacruel is very much involved in the production of that software. He is also involved with Audacity, and I think also Ultimate Guitar Tabs. he's behind a lot of the big resources online for learning and making music. But he makes really great videos diving into all sorts of topics. For example, this one here is about how so many songs on guitar, whether they're covers or originals, use the open chords, and he describes them as zombie chords because it means that so many guitar songs wind up sounding the same. This was a great video all about different people's attempts to reinvent music notation and how I was talking about chess there, but how like he goes through all of these different attempts to reinvent sheet music and talks about why they didn't work. He also has just a great sense of humor as well, and as you can see, a really great visual style in his video making. So yeah, Tantacruel, definitely check him out. As I said, not all of his videos are about music, but most of them are. His most viewed video here is actually not about music. I've also watched that. That is a really important video. But yeah, loads of great videos about music. Hein Hicks in the chat says Tantacruel is really funny. Can't recommend him enough. Agreed. I agree with that. Okay, so just looking at the chat. Okay, 8-bit music theory. It's kind of in the name. His channel is all about music theory, but focused completely on video game music. Now, I'm not a massive video game player, so a lot of his videos I don't actually know what the songs are. Like, I don't know the games that they're from, but I still find it really interesting. And that said, there are some of his videos, like the ones he did on Mario Kart and Mario and Pokemon. Where's Pokemon gone? Yeah, this one. Oh yeah, this one here. That's great. Where I do know the music. So like, Pokemon, I know all of the classic games, Mario, Pokemon. He does a great job unpacking not just the music theory behind this music, but also how the limitations of these game consoles sometimes meant that the music had to be composed in certain ways. But he's also got a great presentation style. And to be honest, if you look at his videos, you might find they look a little bit like mine. And that's not because he copied me. That's because I copied him. He's been doing videos for a long time. He's been doing them for longer than I've been doing them. And his style was very much an inspiration for my style. But I don't feel too bad because he actually got his own back on me by... I don't own modes, but he effectively decided to do a series on modes inspired by my series on modes. So I think we're even now. He inspired me. I've inspired him. And we also did a collab together once. That same collab I was talking about earlier where Jay Foreman was involved, where it was music to make you laugh. And his entry for that was just so hilarious. Really great guy. Nail in the chat has just noticed how close I am to 1 million subscribers. It's very close, isn't it? I don't know. What is it on right now? I'm just going to check on my phone. Obviously, if any of you watching aren't subscribed, you should subscribe because this is your opportunity to push me towards 1 million subs. So I currently have 993,000 subscribers. 993,000. So I need 6,000 and a bit, 6,000 and a half, 6,500 subscribers to get me to 1 million, which is crazy. I can't believe how close we are. And I'm definitely going to be doing another live stream to celebrate that. If possible, I will live stream as we tip over into 1 million subscribers, but I don't know when it's going to happen, obviously. So whether I can manage that, we'll find out. But anyway, as I was saying, 8-bit music theory. If you like video games and you like music theory, you have to watch this channel. Okay, somebody already predicted I would talk about Rob Scallon, but here we are, Rob Scallon. So, Rob makes... Well, he's made a whole range of videos over the years. He's been making videos quite a long time. They're always about music. In the early days, they were more comedy-focused. Now they're more educational-focused. The kind of series he's kind of on now is he'll go to an expert in a certain instrument, like this one here. He'll go to an accordion player, and the accordion player will effectively teach him how to play that instrument, and it's a great way of learning about an obscure instrument with him. And he's done it with loads of different instruments. There was a really great one he did on the theremin a while ago. I don't know where that's gone, but he doesn't know how to play the saxophone, but with the help of this guy, he, in the video, starts to learn the basics of how to play saxophone, and we learn with him. It's a great format. But he also makes other videos in other formats, most notably the Album in a Day series, 1st of October, which is a partnership he does with Andrew Huang, who's this guy on the left, where they make an album in a day. It's fantastic. I look forward to it every year because they do it every year. You should definitely watch both Rob Scallon and Andrew Huang, who I will get to in a minute to talk about more specifically. But if you're a music lover, you basically have to watch Rob Scallon. Oh, here's Andrew. I was clever enough to put it next to him. So, Andrew Huang is the other half of 1st of October, but he also has his own YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure that Rob and Andrew met each other because of their YouTube channels, so they didn't know each other before. But Andrew is another one who's been making videos for a very long time. They've changed over the years. So in the early days, he was making videos kind of like... I want to describe them as sort of meme videos, but they're better than that. Let's watch this one, for example. So there's like a song challenge, right? Where he has to do a certain thing, and he does it in a really creative way.
Oh my god! My bleeding heart bleeds blood for you.
But yeah, he's great, and so that's kind of what his older videos were like. He actually had a really good one, which was when he played Uptown Funk. No, he played 24K Magic on Carrots. Where's that one gone? That was so good. Can I just search that? 24K. There it is. Yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what he used to do. It was kind of like silly song challenges with found sounds.
Girls, what y'all trying to do? 24 karat magic in the air.
But anyway, that's what his videos used to be like. Now they're a little bit more like explainers. There's an element of music theory education. Like he's got this video here. In fact, I kind of stole the format of this one. Learn music theory in half an hour. I made a video which was learn music theory in 29 minutes. I don't know if Andrew knows about that. I don't know how he feels about that. But I haven't heard from him about that. But anyway, nowadays, his videos, they come in all shapes and sizes. Some are about music production. Some are about songwriting. Once again, just kind of essential viewing for music makers and music lovers. Just having a little look at the chat here. Anyway, sorry, just looking at the chat. Gonna move on. So that's Andrew. Let's move on to Amy Nolte. So Amy Nolte, you may have seen her on my channel before. We've made a few different collab videos before. But she is a fantastic piano player and music educator, generally more focused on jazz, but she does talk about pop music as well, and classic rock, all sorts of stuff really. So she's got videos. If you go to her older stuff, it's more learning how to play jazz. If you go look at her more recent stuff, it can be more about like this is a video me and her made together. So we both made a video about Beatles middle eights. So this was the one that she made on her channel, and then I made one on my channel as well as a sort of partner video. So just once again, really great educational stuff about music, all sorts of topics, and a bit of Beatles, which is always a good thing. Polyphonic. Oh, somebody's just pointed out I accidentally clicked. Yep. Ooh. I accidentally clicked on the thing about the next topic. I've moved it back now. Anyway, Polyphonic is a channel where he effectively makes short documentaries about music. It's not music theory. It's more like music history and biography. You can see 17 million on that John Bonham video. These are some really well-made videos. They're really well presented. Great topics. I've also discovered a lot of music just by watching these videos as well. Yeah, like once again, music lovers, this is stuff you will want to watch. It's sort of like when we were talking about non-music channels earlier, when you had the classic like no face on screen, very well edited and presented educational essay video. It's that, but about music history. That's what these videos are. That's what Polyphonic is. Let's have a little look at the chat. Yeah, Sheila Ross agrees. She loves Polyphonic. Great content and neat visuals. Yeah, a lot of love for Polyphonic in the chat. Cool. Let's move on. So this is a very similar channel, Middle Eight. In fact, we were just talking about Middle Eights, but we were talking about actual Middle Eights, as in like the section in a song. But Middle Eight is a channel very similar to Polyphonic, I guess. Visual, like no face on screen, beautiful visuals, unpacking music history. But I guess it's less, Middle Eight is less music history, more discussion. So literally the other day I watched this video about dance punk, but if we look at his most popular videos, he's got that was a really interesting one about Seven Nation Army. There's loads of great videos here. Radiohead, there's quite a few Radiohead ones actually, so I know my Radiohead fans will be pleased with that. It's also a great way once again to discover new music. He'll often mention bands during the video, and I'll instantly be adding them to my Spotify. Yeah, just really great educational videos about music. Middle Eight, go watch him. And of course, the Don, Rick Beato. I mentioned him a little bit earlier. If there's anyone watching now who hasn't heard of Rick Beato, I will be surprised. He's basically the biggest guy in the music education space on YouTube. He started back in the day with far more sort of lecture style videos where he would talk about music theory. He'd also do videos about perfect pitch because he effectively trained his son Dylan to have amazing perfect pitch. So that's what his early videos were about. That's how I first discovered him. But over the last few years, he's really shot to significance, and he's now doing videos. He's interviewing people like Sting and Brian May, and like he's got some amazing interviews going on. He's kind of cracked into this niche of music interviews where the interviewer actually knows about music, which is something which I guess just no one really did before. Obviously, there's no shortage of interviews with people like Sting, but usually they're not being interviewed by someone who has an intimate knowledge of music. like Rick does. So Rick just has a great knack for asking the right questions and getting some really great interviews. But it's not just all interviews. He also has his what makes these songs great videos, where he analyzes classic songs and he looks at the multi-tracks and the stems of those songs to kind of like look at the different layers. It's just, once again, it's like if you're a music fan, you should probably be subscribed to Rick Beato. I like trains in the chat says Beato went way too far off in the modern pop bad route. I unsubscribed from him a few months ago. Yeah, Rick has a knack sometimes of looking through the top 40 songs on the charts and kind of ripping them up a bit. And yeah, a lot of the songs in the top 40 aren't that great. I think that's always been the case. Throughout the years, there's always been some good songs, some bad songs. But in Rick's defense, in those videos, sometimes he will come across a song and be like, oh, genuinely, that's a great song. I think that's really cool. So he's not always like on the old man shouts at cloud bandwagon of pop music is bad now. He's not. That's not always his message. But I know what you mean when you say that, because he has got certain videos that are kind of in that angle. Anyway, let's move on. So this is a very Beatles-centric channel. You can't unhear this. This channel dives into some of the nitty-gritty of how certain Beatles records were recorded. And the thing is with Beatles records is, you know, the Beatles were pioneering when they were in the studio. They were one of the first bands to start using the recording studio effectively like an instrument. So they were experimenting and trying stuff out and often getting things a little bit wrong. And what this channel does is it looks at some of the aspects of their music where there's these little moments in Beatles songs where you're like, oh, that's a bit weird. I wonder how that happened. And he unpacks that. So he'll talk about, for example, the famous Strawberry Fields Forever cut, where they put together two different takes. Or they'll talk about certain songs where we don't actually know which Beatle played a certain instrument. It's kind of like solving mysteries in Beatles songs. So if you're a Beatles fan, you should be watching this channel. Non-Beatles fans may not get this channel, but that's fine. But anyway, let's move on. Okay, Josh Turner guitar. So far with all of the music channels, we've largely been looking at people who talk about music or are educators in music. But Josh is a musician. He's a performer. And he does original music. He also does covers. The thing about Josh is he has a real knack for arrangement and recording and getting a really, really well put together piece of music. So it's not just a cover, it's a great performance, well recorded. It's just a joy to listen to. And my favorite videos of his are from a series he does. What's it called again? It's like Just Friends or something? Among Friends. So he has this series called Among Friends where he kind of tours around the country and collaborates in each city with a different musician, and they'll often find a public location, they'll do a cover song together, and despite the fact that they're recording it like, I don't know, in the park or something, it will sound amazing. Their performances will be spot on. This one's a good one. Josh is great. Go subscribe to him. Okay. Scary Pockets. So, similar deal here. It's performances, and they're done. They're not in public, but they're done kind of all in one room. You can see all the moving parts, which I think is so interesting. I think it reminds me of Snarky Puppy about 10 years ago, where there's this format where you record the music, but you can see everything. It's all video recorded, and it gives you such a perspective on how the music has been constructed. You can see all the moving parts, and I think it's so insightful, and it just makes you appreciate the music even more. So Scary Pockets, for context, is one of the many channels of this guy, who hopefully we're going to see. Oh, it's gone. Jack Conti. I don't know if you know Jack Conti. Hopefully we're going to see him again in a second. Can it go back to Jack? Oh, we can see his hat. I'm just going to pause for a second. So Jack Conti, for context, is the founder of Patreon, and he is also the CEO of Patreon today. So he's an incredibly influential person in the world of online musicianship and online video making. Patreon is at the heart of so much of what people on YouTube like me do. So we owe a lot to Jack, but Jack is also a fantastic musician. He started Patreon basically because his band, Pomplamoose, needed a way to make money because they were making amazing videos on YouTube and they weren't making much money from it. So he started Patreon as a way to fund that, and it became the global sensation that Patreon is. But anyway, Jack also has other bands beyond Pomplamoose, and one of them is Scary Pockets. And the whole Scary Pockets thing is covering classic songs like I Will Survive in usually a funked up or different kind of arrangement. He's very good at arranging. It always sounds great. He always has great musicians alongside him. Oh yeah, I forgot about this. So the next channel I want to tell you about is Noah. So let's just go back to their channel to start with. So Noah is a two-piece band, duo. It features Lewis Cole, who is this guy, and Genevieve. I can't remember her surname. It's like Artady or something. I can't remember. But anyway, it's these two. And they're really great musicians. Lewis actually has his own channel as well, where he makes more music, so you can go check him out there. But Noah is their kind of duo. And once again, in this kind of like, we're in this sort of run of channels now, right? Josh Turner, Scary Pockets, Noah, where it's all about seeing the music be made in real time. I think that is just such a great format that didn't exist much before YouTube, because there was too much miming, there was too much editing, and YouTube allows us, assuming the creator is honest with us, to hear and see the real thing. I need to show you this video. This is their song Overtime, which first of all is just an absolute banger. It's a great song. But this video of them performing it is just chocked full of silly little Easter eggs for you to spot. And the musicianship is sensational. I have watched this video. It's got 7.5 million views. I'm probably responsible for like 1 million of those views. Let's watch this again. I love this. It's my favourite YouTube video, I think. Just so funky. Also, Lewis makes me want to play drums. He's such a good drummer. won't show you the entire thing now, but I bloody love these guys. And that isn't the only video they've got. Obviously, they've got loads of songs in this sort of. It's always in this style where they show you all of the musicians playing in like a cramped corridor, and it's bloody great. Yeah, that's Noah. Okay. Trash Theory. We've only got a few more musical YouTubers left, and Trash Theory is one of them. Trash Theory is another sort of music history, music biography channel, talking you through often either like genres or movements or particular artists. I have learned a lot about music. I've discovered a lot of artists actually through this channel, but I've learned a lot about music history through this channel. It's a British channel, so I think personally as a Brit, they cover a lot of music which I am really interested in. There's a video they did on power pop which I really learned so much about. Yeah, this one. So before watching this video, I'd heard of the term power pop, but I didn't fully understand what it was. And watching this video, I realized, oh, I love power pop. This is my type of music. So in this video, there's so many songs and artists that I discovered that I love. And as you can see, they're long videos. This is almost an hour long. But that's one of the best things about them is they're not just scratching the surface. They're really diving into it. They're really telling you the full story of a particular period or a particular style of music. So yeah, I very much recommend Trash Theory. All sorts of stuff they're talking about on there. Okay, let's move on. Charles Cornell. So this is another guy which I would be surprised if you guys aren't already subscribed to. Charles nowadays makes videos where he analyzes / reacts to particular songs or movie soundtracks or video game soundtracks and looks at the music theory behind them and just kind of just generally appreciates them. And he has a great enthusiastic energy, really infectious energy to him. Great guy. He actually started not doing this sort of content. He started doing... Well, okay, I wasn't expecting to see that. But he started doing meme play-alongs. He would play along to a meme. I need to find a good example to show you. He'd play along to memes with the piano, and these videos actually went really viral in the early days. Where's the Cardi B one? That's kind of like a classic. Okay, so this is what he used to do.
When I was a stripper with a crooked teeth, niggas didn't give a fuck. They used to fall in love with me. And bitches would be like, oh my god, but why her? She's a fucking stripper, she's a ratchet. Even when I got with Offset, bitches used to be on his side, why she used to be a stripper, she's so ratchet. And it's like, why the fuck you mean why her, bitch? Cause I'm a motherfucking vibe. Unforgettable, unexplainable, like I'm really like that homie that nigga like to talk to, laugh with good pussy. Y'all bitches be cute, but y'all just ain't that vibe. You know what I'm saying? And then niggas go around and we try to play themselves, try to find another, like, cause they can't believe it. They can't believe it. And then it's like, yeah, you see, nigga, you come back, cause I'm just that. I get what I'm supposed to give.
What I'm supposed to give? What?
So that's how he started. That's how I first discovered him. He would play piano to a meme video in an incredibly high effort bit of shitposting. But then his videos evolved and he started doing more like comedy skits. Like this one. Sorry, I'm going to watch some of these.
All right,
They're so
everybody, we're
good.
going to bring out the cake now. Let's all sing happy birthday to Jimmy. All right, here we go. Ready? In three, two, seven, no, I got it. It's fine.
9,
no, it's
15.
No,
Just
it's fine.
started
No, it's fine.
already.
Bill!
Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jimmy. Happy birthday to you.
So he would start with these videos where he would make comedy skits. I'm just going to skip to the bit where he then sings it in a really elaborate way.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
But anyway, that's how he started. Nowadays, he does educational videos, but it's all brilliant. So go watch Charles. I also owe a lot to Charles because he was really helpful a few years ago in teaching me a lot about copyright on YouTube and how to deal with the copyright system on YouTube, which is incredibly opaque and headache-inducing sometimes. So Charles was very kind and had a, I just kind of reached out to him. I didn't know him, and then he was like, "Oh, let's have a Zoom call." And in the Zoom call, he just kind of told me so much valuable information. So he's a real stand-up guy. Go subscribe to him. All right, what have we got next? Paul Davids. So once again, I'm sure you guys know Paul Davids. He is a YouTuber who is educational videos, largely focused on the guitar, but on all aspects of music. They are really well put together. Really well thought out. He is another big influence on my channel, on my approach to YouTubing. I've stolen various of his various video ideas from him over the years, and he's always been very gracious about it. I stole. Well, I say stole. I did ask him, slash shout him out for these. So this one, I copied this and did top 80 piano intros. I shouted him out. He was cool with it. I also copied the confusing intro. No, I can't find it. He's got videos about confusing intros, like where the song begins and you don't know where you are. They influenced my videos on confusing intros. And he also does these kind of like improv challenge videos, like this one here, which very, very much is something I ripped off recently, but I asked his permission. And got him involved in it too. But anyway, Paul he's basically essential viewing if you are a musician who's trying to learn more about music. He recently did an interview with Jacob Collier. Don't know how he managed that. It was amazing. Yeah, you got to watch Paul. Just having a little look at the chat here. Yeah, so it seems like a lot of you guys already know Paul, but if you don't, go watch him. All right. Now, I'm not going to pronounce this guy's surname properly, but Charles Berthoud? Not sure. He is a bass player, very talented. His videos are... It's a little bit hard to describe. They're ultimately comedy sketches based around playing bass. There is sometimes an educational aspect, but generally it will be, for example, like taking a song like Billie Jean and playing it in a really advanced way, or like a comedy skit like this. Let's watch this one here. get the idea. It's always bass. He's a great player. He's a British guy actually, but he's based in the US. And as someone actually mentioned in the chat just then, he has actually also started a side channel where he does more educational content as well. But yeah, particularly for bass players, go watch Charles Bear 2, according to the chat. Okay, Two Set Violin. So Two Set Violin are two violin players from Australia, I believe. I think they're from Australia, who do videos which I guess they're fairly light-hearted, comedy aspect to them, but they always have classical music at the heart. So it's a really great way to learn more about classical music in a sort of educational setting. In an entertaining setting. They're both also very proficient at the violin. They've both performed professionally in orchestras, so it's quite insightful. They can tell you quite a lot about the real world of playing classical music. As I mentioned when I was talking about David Bruce earlier, I'm not someone who knows loads about classical music. I know a fair amount, but the thing is, classical music is a massive, massive genre, right? There's like 400 years of music there, so there's always more for me to learn, and I find that Two Set is a great way of becoming more and more familiar with classical music, classical repertoire. But they'll often do it's like a lot of the classic YouTube stuff, reaction videos, skit videos, but with music at the heart of it. So really great, entertaining stuff for classical music, really. Mary Spender, I know the chat was talking about Mary Spender earlier. So Mary is also someone who's been doing YouTube videos for a while, and they've kind of evolved a bit over the time, but they're fantastic. I actually had the pleasure of meeting her for the first time last Sunday, which was really, really nice to meet her properly. Great person. She is British, but she doesn't live in Britain anymore. But I was lucky enough to catch her when she was visiting Brighton the other day. So she does videos on all sorts of things. As I mentioned, music is at the core of it. Sometimes they are kind of like biography, histories. Sometimes they are discussions of the music industry and what's going on in the music industry right now. She is also a singer-songwriter, so some of it's about, some of her videos are just about being a singer-songwriter and the challenges of that, and kind of teaching people more about how to be a independent musician. So once again, it's just a general music channel that anyone who is a music lover or aspiring musician should check out. What's her most viewed? So yeah, you can kind of see the variety of videos here. She's got a video here reviewing a guitar, a cover with there's Josh Turner again, who we were talking about a minute ago. So Mary is a big Dire Straits fan, so if you're a Dire Straits fan, you will appreciate her videos.
You get a shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park, but meantime, south of the river you stop and you hold everything. A band is blowing Dixie double 4 time. You feel alright.
Just gonna skip along to the solo. You can see that lump there where the solo happens.
Swing.
I appreciate that Josh is playing with his fingers as well, like Martin Knopfler did. Oh. That's so sweet. Oh god. Sorry, this has turned back into me talking about Josh Turner, but seriously, Mary is fantastic. Go subscribe to her channel right now. And she's also done a lot of like collab stuff with people like Adam Neely as well. So you've probably seen her in other channels as well. And another guy who's turned up in a lot of other channels is Samurai Guitarist, who is a Canadian guitar player, and his channel is largely about being a guitarist. It's a really useful channel for anyone who's aspiring to be a gigging musician. Oh, look, he uploaded a video just 2 hours ago. I've not watched it yet. Let's add that to the watch later. One of my favourite series he's done is... Where is it? It's kind of like weird guitar pedals or something. I can't remember. Gimmicks and stuff. I can't actually find it right now. But he basically does a whole variety of videos that are usually about guitar. They've definitely got an educational aspect to them. Sometimes it's just exploring different pedals or different techniques. Sometimes it's more music theory based, like this one. In fact, this is a topic which I kind of stole, but it's the most sincere form of flattery, isn't it, to steal? That's what I'm going to say when we go to court. But anyway, Samurai Guitarist, just another kind of essential viewing YouTuber, particularly for guitarists. Let's just take a little look at the chat. Songwriting secrets for, your mother never taught you in the chat says Samurai Guitarist is from the same city as them, Winnipeg, in Canada, right? Yeah. Just having a little look at the chat here. As we mentioned before, I am very, very, very close to 1 million subscribers. So if any of you watching aren't subscribed, bearing in mind, of course, there's only 229 of you watching right now, so the impact you can have is only limited. But if you're not subscribed right now, then, don't miss your chance to be within the first 1 million. But anyway, let's talk about Nare. So Nare is another excellent music educator with videos on all sorts of topics. She kind of first kind of came to fame, I guess, with her channel, with her videos like this: the blues as digested by a classical musician, or bebop as digested by a classical musician. These videos were sort of her first sort of style, her first series that kind of which I discovered at least. And once again, she's a great insight into the world of classical music because she's a fantastic classical pianist, and she therefore brings a insight that I don't have. I'm not a classically trained musician, so I find it really interesting to learn from someone like Nare who is classically trained, because they've got this other perspective and she has blind spots that people like me don't have, and vice versa. So, for example, she did a video about why classical musicians don't improvise. If I can find it. I just searched it, but I don't know where it's gone. Ah, there it is. No, that's not it. Ignore me. But she has really great insight into classical music and the world of classical music. Really well put together videos. And she's also just a bloody great piano player. So, for example, here is her playing Happy Birthday in the style of 10 different classical composers. I really love how she does this like annotations on the screen thing where she can basically describe to you, I guess, what she's doing, what she's thinking about while she performs. It's a great format. But anyway, you should go watch Nare Sell. She's fantastic. All right. Not many left now. So we have now Joe Jenkins. So Joe Jenkins is a piano player, and he primarily busks on the street. That's what a lot of his videos are about, as you can see. But he does it often in very interesting ways. So he, for example, tried to play outside Buckingham Palace. He basically makes a mission of playing in weird places. Like, he played under the sea. And
That right there.
he won't just do it. He won't just play you it. He'll show you the whole mission of how he managed to pull it off, which I find just as interesting as the performance itself. Let's just skip along a little bit. Which is ridiculous, but it's brilliant. I would say he's a bit like the Max Fosh of piano playing. Just being silly, British guy, doing things in stupid locations for a laugh, just for a stupid pun sometimes. Where's the one where they go through the shopping mall? That one's great. Here it is. So they play the theme. They play the theme from Mario Kart. There's a Mario Kart level called Coconut Mall, where you drive through a shopping mall, and he's going to play the music of that level whilst having his piano race through a shopping mall. It's brilliant. Let's just go to here. You can see where everyone else has gone to.
This is one of the dumbest ideas I've had yet, but it was so fun to make. So I really do hope you enjoy it, and yeah, leave a like if you do.
By the way, this guy, he's a great piano player. He's being driven through a mall right now, so we'll forgive him for being a little bit rough around the edges. Anyway, he's got other videos like that. Go check him out. Joe Jenkins. There he is. All right. Okay, so you guys have probably heard of this guy, Matthias. I'm not completely sure how to pronounce that, but he's from Sweden, I think. Anyway, he is kind of similar to Joe Jenkins in the sense that it's piano and it's like silly things, but it's not busking. It's like engineering, quote unquote engineering. So he will, for example, replace all of the hammers in his piano with real hammers, or he'll make every single note tuned to E. That sort of stuff. He also did one where he filled the piano with water. Is that... Yeah, this one. Yeah, let's just...
Oh my god! It's deep now. I know you would get disappointed if I didn't at least try this. Let's just go buy a piano, waterproof.
Anyway, so he does the silly engineering, harebrained schemed with a piano. It's great. Matthias, go watch him. He actually recently featured in a Rob Scallon video, who we were talking about earlier. But he's just done all sorts of ridiculous things, which you can't believe until you see him. Yeah, great guy. And actually, another Swede. 2 Swedes in a row. Rumi. So Rumi has been making videos on YouTube for a very long time. And they are all kind of music videos. His style has varied a lot over the years. He's been making... How many has he got? Almost 1,000 videos. And he's just been going for ages. I used to watch Rumi back in the day. And Rumi was actually really kind. When my channel was still quite young, he reached out to me and said, I love your videos. Let's do a collab. So me and Rumi actually collabed on a video together. Back in the day. It's a video that yeah, it's this one. So we did this kind of video on one chord songs about 3 years ago.
The genius of it is...
And he's very much the biggest YouTuber I've ever worked with. It's almost 7.5 million subscribers. But yeah, his videos they're very focused on pop music. So if you're not a big fan of pop music, you may not get them as much. But there's a lot of just sort of reacting to, discussing pop music. It's cool stuff. Wayne Kitching says, "Do you know the Kiffness?" I do know the Kiffness. So I was introduced to them. Let's look them up now. I was introduced to them by a friend of mine. The Kiffness, if you don't know, is like a producer, and he takes viral videos and he makes them into songs, and they're often surprisingly good songs. They're songs that sort of don't have any right being as good as they are. Let's watch this one, for example. So he takes an existing clip and adds instrumentation to it. There's actually there's a really good one that was stuck in my head for... Anyway, someone in the chat was mentioning Elliot earlier. Elliot Roberts is a relatively new YouTuber who, if you're a Beatles fan, you should be watching. He makes great discussion videos about Beatley things. It's not all Beatles, of course. There's lots of other things. Actually, he recently introduced me to the Lemon Twigs, who are a great band. You should listen to the Lemon Twigs, and I owe that to Elliot. So thank you, Elliot, for introducing me to them. They're great. But Elliot does all sorts of videos, but his best ones are these two. Actually, no, these three. Paul McCartney's entire discography, solo discography, ranked worst to best. George Harrison's and John Lennon's. You can see these videos are hours long, but they are worth it. They're really, really great videos that just they take their time to go through every single song, not every single song, every single album, and discuss it in great length. It's great. If you're a Beatles fan, you need to be watching Elliot Roberts. Just looking at the chat. Yes. Okay, Elliot. And the thing is, actually, when Elliot first started making his videos, I'd already started making this list that we're doing today. I've been keeping a list for like over a year of channels I would like to kind of plug. And when when I first added Elliot to the list, he had less than 100k subs. So he was going to be in the less than 100k category, which we'll be coming to quite soon now. But before I had a chance to make the video today, he has surpassed 100. So he is now in the proper music section. And this is another channel actually that did that. So this channel, you can see, has only recently got over 100. Early music sources. This channel is an incredibly valuable resource for anybody researching old music. And I mean old music. I mean music from like the medieval period. This channel is... I don't really understand the full background, but they're basically incredibly well researched videos on pretty much every aspect of pre-classical music. European music before the music theory classical music situation that we know today, which is basically started in the 1800s onwards. So there's discussion of medieval music, of like Gregorian chant, of and they do go into like Baroque and stuff like here, talking about the 16th century and that. But it's stuff like this, solemnizations, like how music was taught in the 16th century. Really interesting stuff. It's quite dense. Their videos are quite hard sometimes to understand. I've rewatched many of them to try and get to kind of like glean as much knowledge from them as I can. So this is like mega nerdy stuff, but this channel has been really useful for researching some of my own videos. So if you are a serious music nerd, you should be watching early music sources. Okay, and another musician who will often play very old music is Brandon Acker, who is a classical guitarist, incredibly skilled. You can see there, actually, he did a video recently collaborating with Samurai Guitarist, who we were just talking about. But anyway, Brandon, he talks about every aspect of classical guitar and also classical guitar adjacent instruments like the fabordo. Is it the fabordo? The fabordo? I'm definitely saying that wrong. But also the lute and sort of old instruments. But he's incredibly talented. So some of his videos are just him playing, but a lot of them are also him discussing the instrument and discussing the culture around this sort of like early music performances and tradition. So yeah, really interesting channel. Okay, Jeff Schneider is a YouTuber who you may have heard of because he was recently in a video of mine. He was in my big piano collaboration improv challenge video. He is a keyboard player, predominantly doing videos about jazz, but not exclusively jazz, but it's kind of like music theory. It's how to improvise. It's how to be a jazz player, as I just mentioned. If you're a keyboard player, I very much would recommend watching his videos. But you don't have to be a keyboard player. For example, this video he made, this is one of my favorite ones.
I'm going to review.
This is him talking about key changes in Disney songs. This was a really interesting video. So, yeah, Jeff Schneider. Check him out. All right, we haven't got many left now. Okay, Bill Wirtz. So this is a channel which I almost didn't put in the music bit because he's more of a... I almost put him in the classics at the very start of this live stream, but he is a musician. So Bill Wirtz, he's most well known for his History of Everything videos. He did one of Japan and he did this one here. They are incredibly well crafted, incredibly funny, but also educational videos. Let's watch the Japan one.
Japan is an island by the sea filled with volcanoes and it's beautiful. In the year -1 billion, Japan might not have been here. In the year -40,000, it was here, and you could walk to it, and some people walked to it. Then it got warmer, some icebergs melted, it became an island, and now there's lots of trees, because it's warmer. So now there's people on the island, they're basically sort of hanging out in between the mountains, eating nuts off trees, and using the latest technology, like stones and bowls. Ding dong, it's the outside world, and they have technology from the future, like really good metal and crazy rice farms. Now you can make a lot of rice, really...
So, watching this video, you might think, music, why is he in the music bit? But all of this music that's happening, he's made this, and all of that singing, that's him singing, it's... This format he's got here is crazy, and it's... The more you kind of think about how he made this video, the more baffling it is.
Really quickly. That means if you own the farm, you own a lot of food, which is something everybody needs to survive. So that makes you king. Rice farming and rice kingdoms spread across the land, all the way to here. The most important kingdoms were here, 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 and here. But this one was the most important, ruled by a heavenly superperson, or emperor for short. Knock knock, get the door, it's religion. The new prince wants everyone to try this hot new religion.
But an easier way to understand his musicianship is to watch one of his other videos. For example, this one, which is literally just a song, but in a very distinctive style.
Don't have enough time to say the things I want to say, to do the things I want to do, or to be like you. I feel, just to express the things I feel and believe them too. 2 plus 2 has been 4 for so many darn years, oh Lord.
So yeah, hilarious, incredibly talented, and just quite a unique channel, really. I don't think he's in a genre of his own. Let's just look at the chat. Yeah, a lot of love for Bill in the chat there. All right, so this is another channel where it is musical, but it's also not just musical. It kind of expands beyond music. So Look Mum No Computer is a sorry, my computer was just trying to update. Very inconvenient. Look Mum No Computer is a YouTuber who is kind of like engineering electronics, but he's also a musician who makes modular synths. He does all sorts of stuff. And he makes a lot of sort of like crazy inventions. So, for example, he made this organ which plays Furbies.
Furbies! I can guarantee a lot of you have one of these somewhere deep down in a basement in a cardboard box, probably still talking to itself. But maybe there's a use for these annoyingly endearing little creatures.
So yeah, I can see from the jump, that's where he's going to play it. So let's just see if we can hear him play. So yeah, he makes crazy stuff and then often plays music with it. Also, I've just remembered the channel that I should have included in this list, and I don't think I have, which I'm going to just mention right now, which is Colin Furze. This is not music. Let's do that. This is not music. Sorry, I'm sort of jumping back here, but Colin Furze is another crazy engineering guy who does crazy, like proper crazy stuff. He's most well known on YouTube for digging a hole underneath his suburban English home and making a tunnel underneath the house and like a bunker, and it's crazy. Like, the stuff he's done is crazy. You got to see it to believe it. Really, it's like he's genuinely just digging a massive tunnel under his house. This is him underneath his house. It's crazy, but I remembered him because he's done a video with Look Mum No Computer. They've got a similar way about them, kind of mad professor. But yeah, I should have mentioned him before, but I didn't. Colin Furze, definitely go watch him. See, Gizzy Gillespie says you forgot 12 tone. I didn't forget 12 tone because I'm still actually technically on the music bit. And although I haven't got 12 tone yet, I will be getting to him very soon. He is, I think, a couple along. Actually, we'll go to him after this. But anyway, let's look at this one first. So this is Red Light Blue. He makes, I guess you would call them educational videos about music, but they come in all shapes and sizes. They're very different. Like, they're quite varied, and they've got a great sense of humor to them. I think one of the easiest ways is for me just to show you one of his videos. I want to see if I can find the one which has got there's a great little like Paul McCartney. Let's just watch a bit of this video.
Hi, welcome to Guitar Bootcamp. By the end, you'll be so confident with the guitar that you could be hanging out with the pros and they'd be like, hey, this guy knows guitar. Yeah. Sound good? Good. So we're gonna be starting from the very top, so bear with me if you're like, I already know that's a guitar, because things will get more complex as we go, but it's important to really make sure we know all the basics, so the harder stuff later makes sense. Guitar anatomy. So guitars come in many different shapes and sizes. There are 3 main classifications: acoustic, electric.
But anyway, so you can see it's educational, but it's also kind of silly and just some great viewing there. So yeah, Red Light Blue. The chat just reminded me of another YouTuber who I did genuinely mean to include in the list, but he got skipped out by accident. And the reason he got skipped out by accident, I can explain now. So Ryan Leach, I actually did a video with him, which I'll show you in a second, but he is a sort of TV and film composer who does videos about composing. The reason he got skipped out of the list, but was meant to be in it, is he was originally in the sub 100k part of the list. And then I took him out of that because he surpassed 100k, but I forgot to put him back in the main list. So he is meant to be in this list, but I forgot to add him. But it's kind of videos explaining how to compose for TV and film and analysing famous scores. I did this video with him where we were playing a piece of music and we had to guess whether it was classical music or from Minecraft. And at the end, there was actually a bonus round on the Beatles, which we can have a little look at.
Okay, we have a bonus round for you. I didn't know it was Minecraft or Beatles, but it's.
I'd be amazed if this is a difficult one.
All right,
but
so
I'll be interested.
I know you're a Beatles fan, so we're gonna see how you do. All right, can you name these songs? Oh, okay. Can you name these Beatles songs? Play it in a Minecrafty way. And there's 5 of them.
I was desperately trying to recognize it. I feel like I recognize elements of the melody there, but
can I hit it again? Because I got nothing.
I can't actually remember what this was. I still don't recognize it, even listening now again. And I should know the answer. I think Wolfie's got it in the... Yeah. I'm trying... It's in that 3-4 meter, which... You've got it in the chat.
Well, unless they changed it to trick us.
Do you recognize it at all?
I don't.
The harmony sounds like the song "Girl," but the rhythm and everything sounds different. But just I love how the chat's got it. Minor thing. I'm really.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. No, I'm just gonna have to see what this is, but I'm really intrigued.
All right, I'm gonna pass on that one. I was overconfident. All right, here we go. Number 2.
Oh, actually, I think we don't get the answers till later. You know what? Maybe I won't. Okay, I've just skipped along enough to see the answer for that one. The chat, you were right. Revolution 9. That's so mean that this quiz began with Revolution 9, which for anyone who doesn't know is basically not even a song. But anyway, if you're interested in watching the rest of that, it's on Ryan Leach's channel, which you should go watch. It's not all quizzes, it's all sorts of stuff. And also another channel we were meant to be talking about is 12 Tone. So you mentioned him in the chat just now. 12 Tone is another staple of the YouTube music theory world. He has been doing music theory videos on YouTube for a very long time, and he is a go-to source for me when I want to check that I know what I'm talking about. I will often go back and watch a 12 Tone video. He has had this incredibly consistent style for a very long time, where he just kind of draws whilst he does the video. So in a way, they're kind of more like podcasts, in my opinion, because the visual element is kind of just more there for filler. But he has a lot of great insights on music theory. He knows a lot about music theory. So, someone has just reminded me. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, I had forgotten to change it to music YouTubers. I've been going. How long has this stream been going on for? It's almost 4 hours now. No, sorry, 3 hours now. What time is it? It's 11:10 here in the UK at night. I've got a very numb bum. But anyway, I think there's like 15 channels left to talk about. But anyway, 12 Tone, if you're a music theory nerd, this is further essential viewing that you should be watching. All right, so the Punk Rock MBA. So this is a channel all about not just punk, but kind of like punk adjacent music. So grunge and nu metal and anything remotely heavy, basically. I find this to be a really valuable channel for learning more about bands that I should know about, but I don't know about. It's a lot of kind of deep dives into particular styles or the history of particular bands, which is why I think it's so valuable, because he basically tells you the whole story of a particular band from their inception, their career, their ups and downs. So it's a great way about learning about bands you didn't know that much about, or learning more about bands you love, whilst also discovering new music. You know, I've discovered a lot of new bands from this channel. All right, so I think now... Oh, actually, I've got a couple honourable mentions. So I'm just going to move it back to my favourites. So Jeff Marshall is a YouTuber who I've met a few times. He's an absolutely lovely guy. But I'm going to mention him here in a more of an honourable mentions way, because I personally don't really watch his videos that much, but not because they're not great videos, because they are great videos, but because they're all about trains. And I do like trains, but not as much as Jeff. So his videos are basically all about trains, particularly English trains and London trains. So if you are a train nerd, you probably already know about Jeff. But he is a great guy. I had to mention him here because he's such a lovely guy. Jeff Marshall, trains. And we also have Andy Guitar, who is another channel who I'm going to put here as an honourable mention, because I don't personally watch his videos because I'm not really the target audience. He's more for beginner guitarists, or people who, not necessarily beginners, but people who are just kind of getting into guitar. And the reason I include him here is he was the first YouTuber to kind of reach out to me when I first started my channel. When my channel was still quite new. Within the first year of the channel, Andy reached out, and it just so happened he lives very close to me. And we went for a beer, and it was really nice to chat with him. And it was great to chat with a long established YouTuber as someone who was just starting out, to discuss YouTube and learn a lot more about YouTube. So yeah, Andy Guitar. But now we're going to get into the final category, the less than 100k subs category, which is our final category today. These are channels that I watch and genuinely love, but happen to have less than 100k subs. And a lot of these channels are growing very fast because, for example, this channel here, Rob's London, when I first started watching it, I think it had about 10k, and now it has 50k. So soon I'm sure it will surpass 100. But Rob's London is all sort of London history and London trivia and stuff you didn't know. They're really well put together videos where he goes around London and sort of shows you kind of hidden details, or the hidden history of London, really. That's kind of what it is. Really nicely done videos. So if you're remotely interested in the history of London, then check Rob out. Now we have Sean Crowder. So Sean is a music YouTuber. He is actually in Adam Neely's band. So Adam Neely, who we discussed earlier, is in a band called Sungazer. It's a duo. And Sean is the other half. So Sean is a fantastic drummer. And he makes really good videos. He doesn't do them that often anymore, but he has made some really useful and insightful videos about rhythm, particularly about polyrhythm, as you can see here. His style is very, very similar to Adam Neely, actually. Which is no surprise considering that he is a close friend of Adam's, and I imagine Adam kind of guided him into YouTubing, to be honest. Let's just watch a tiny little bit.
A few months ago, Jacob Collier released a video of him playing a 21 against 22 polyrhythm.
This is 21 against 22, right?
I enjoyed the video. I love the ridiculousness of it, but I think there's actually a lot that we can learn from learning how to play something like this. And the reason is that the skills required for playing polyrhythms are essentially the same skills.
But anyway, another great music educator, but with a criminally low subscriber count. I feel like if Sean uploaded more often, he would definitely whiz past 100k. I guess he just doesn't have an awful lot of time to make videos. But the videos he has made are really good. So check out Sean. Now, this is a special one. David Hartley is a YouTuber. He makes videos kind of like documentary / biographies about music. So you can see here he's got videos about Layla by Derek and the Dominoes. He's got videos about, what was that other one? Kind of big one he did. He's got quite a few. He's got quite a few about John Mayer, Pink Floyd. But David is actually also the editor of some of my videos. A fair amount of my videos have been edited by David. He actually reached out to me after he made this video here.
Hey everyone, so
he made a Pink Floyd Guess the Song in 1 Second, which obviously there it is on screen right now. It was inspired by my Beatles one. So we kind of got talking after this, and long story short, he wound up being my editor. But his channel was also great. When he first started being my editor, his channel was much smaller. So it's starting to really pick up now. He's still only on 32k, but you know, if there's one channel you guys subscribe to during this live stream, you should subscribe to this channel, because I'd really appreciate you guys supporting David, because he's been so helpful for my channel, and his videos are great. You know, he's got some really 3 million views on that one there. So I think his channel is definitely going to pop off soon enough. But yeah, you guys should go watch his videos. Okay, so that's David. Next is a guy called James Hargreaves. He is making videos about music, very much so. I'm trying to think how I would describe them. They're sort of like discussion videos, really, maybe a bit educational. If you are a fan of Oasis, the band Oasis, then you'll definitely like this channel, because he makes a lot of videos about Oasis. Great kind of like biographies and histories. And he's also talked about a lot of similar bands to Oasis, for example, the Beatles and other Britpop bands. Yeah, some really great videos. He's another channel he's growing steadily, and I'm sure will sort of take off soon enough. Just having a little look at the chat. Nice. Okay, cool. All right, only a few left. So next is Abley House. Now, Abley House make really, really, really good, authentic Beatles covers. I wouldn't even call them covers. I would call them recreations, because they strive for this level of accuracy which makes them sound basically like the original. Let's watch this one, for example. And like he's got so many Beatles songs. But anyway, I've often used his Beatles covers in my videos because they're so faithful to the originals. So he really has a craft, you know, he really crafts these cover versions. So actually, yeah, Abley House is who I use if I want a great Beatles cover version. If I want a great Radiohead cover version, I use the next YouTuber, Joe Endelman. So Joe Endelman makes really good Radiohead covers. They're really authentic, to the point that I used his cover of Sail to the Moon in my video analyzing Sail to the Moon, and a lot of you guys didn't realize that it was a cover. So yeah, if you like Radiohead, go subscribe to Joe. And we have 5 more channels left, I think. Or maybe less. I think 4 or 5 left. So next is Cadence Hera. So I discovered Cadence's channel recently. She is doing music theory videos kind of similar to mine, but more focused on video game music, but also anime music, all sorts of music, really. She's made this great video here, every time signature explained using Nintendo music. So you can also feel a bit of inspiration here from 8-Bit Music Theory. But it's the sort of stuff where, like, if you like my videos, you'll like her videos. She's just starting out, but she's building momentum quickly. We've got one about microtones here. She's really talked about and she has like quite an eclectic stuff she talks about. So, for example, she talked about the iCarly theme, you know, that kids TV show from like 15 years ago. She's not actually got that many videos, but yeah, I think we're going to expect good things from Cadence. I think she's going to make some great music theory content. So yeah, get in there now. All right, just a few more. We have Brian Kroc. So Brian Kroc I discovered through Adam Neely. He was in an Adam Neely video. I actually believe Brian Kroc used to maybe edit some of Adam's videos. I feel like I heard that at one point. Not sure. But anyway, he's one of those YouTubers who, if he made more videos, I think his channel would really pick up. But he just doesn't make them that often. But they're, once again, great analysis videos. Diving into fairly particular artists. He has a lot of crossover with artists that I like. So he's talked about Sufjan Stevens, who's one of my favorite artists. He's talked about Phoebe Bridgers and Elliott Smith, who is one of my favorite artists. This video in particular, actually, is great. If you like Phoebe Bridgers or Elliott Smith, who are 2 of my favorite artists, you've got to watch this video because it's all about how Phoebe, who is a massive Elliott Smith fan, has obviously channeled some of Elliott Smith's songwriting techniques into her music. And Brian does a great job of sort of explaining that. So go watch Brian if you like those artists. All right. Not much left now. Charlie Foster. Yes, I've already talked about Polyphonic. Great channel. Okay, next we have... I'm going to mispronounce his name, I think. Yogev. He is a drummer who makes videos about odd time signatures and polyrhythms, and he has a great way of explaining them. He also hasn't uploaded very much recently, but he has some great videos unpacking weird time signatures. So if you like odd time signatures, if you like polyrhythms, you definitely will appreciate his videos. He's got fairly particular taste. He talks about a lot of bands like Tool and Porcupine Tree and that sort of thing. A lot of proggy stuff. But yeah, odd time signatures, all that sort of stuff. Go check him out. And I think this is actually the last channel. So the Keys Coach is a channel I recently was invited onto the Keys Coach podcast, where I did an interview, and they've recently started making videos as well. They are educational videos about playing the piano. Great stuff, particularly for beginner piano players. This is really informative stuff. But yeah, if you're a piano player, you can see that's all of his videos right there. So you can see he's quite new to this, but he's got some great videos. Maybe needs to mix up his thumbnails a bit. They all look quite similar, but yeah, great stuff. So go check out the Keys Coach. And I think after that, yeah, we already talked about Warren. So what Produced Like a Pro, I was going to talk about him. He shouldn't be in this section anyway. I think I've muddled that up. He should be in the music YouTuber section. But we talked about Warren earlier because he was in the chat. I don't know if he's still there. He's probably gone to bed now. But anyway, if you missed the bit where we talked about Warren earlier, then go subscribe to Produce Like a Pro. He's basically the British Rick Beato. But that's it. That is all of the channels I think you should subscribe to. Well, not all of them, because this is only some of my channels that I watch. Sorry, I'm tired now. I've been doing this for 3 hours. It's 11:30 at night. But anyway, that isn't all of the channels I watch and love. There's many more out there that I love. Of course, if you can think of any other channels that I missed, then do leave them in the chat or in the comments. I'm going to end the stream quite soon, so you'll probably need to leave them in the comments. But this video will be available after the stream has ended. It will be available on my channel to watch, so you guys can go back and find all the channels. And I will also put all of the links to the channels in the description as well. So thanks again for watching, and see you again soon. Thank you so much for all the people who tuned in to watch live as well. I really appreciate that. I'll be back with another live stream relatively soon, hopefully, to celebrate, touch wood, getting to 1 million subscribers, which we are very close to. Anyway, have a good evening. Thank you so much for watching.